buckle up. It's time to take the trip, buckle up.
You're listening to the Take the Trip podcast, where you'll find real talk and zero filter. I'm your host, Kendra Fogarty, and today I am here with the inspiring mother-daughter duo behind Savvy Travel Mamas, Joy and Mayra. These two are helping families travel more without draining their bank accounts, and I just find the dynamic also just so endearing. I appreciate everything that you all share, so thank you so much for being here today on the podcast. Let's start with the obvious, the thing that you're really known for, making travel actually affordable for people. I think a lot of people hear points and miles, and to be honest, it feels confusing. It feels overwhelming. And I know that I am personally not capitalizing on this anywhere near as well as I could be. So I am really looking forward to getting some tips about that. But first, I want to hear your backstory. Can you tell us how you got into the points game and how you've just racked up this really impressive continent, country, state tally?
So, Mom, that one's all you. You were the OG here.
Well, okie dokie. I got into it because we were not able to afford travel for our kids when they were younger. We didn't have the time. We didn't have the money. And just one day down the road, when Joy was way up in high school, I discovered my husband had some points from traveling. And I said, can I use these? And I called American Airlines and I said, hey, I've got this many American Airline miles and I want 2 tickets and I want to go as far from St. Louis round trip for 2 people as we can. And they said, well, how about Tobago? And I said, well, you know what? I've never heard of Tobago. It doesn't really appeal to me. I just don't know anything about it. And she said, well, how about Barbados? And I said, well, you know what? I don't know anything about Barbados either, but it sounds kind of cool. So book us 2 round tickets to Barbados. And that's kind of where it all started. And then once I did that, I started looking for other ways to make things happen and stumbled across some things that just kind of started telling me what to do. And then I made a lot of mistakes in the process, started refining it, and just kind of went from there. I love to travel and I wanted to be able to take our kids and our grandkids. So it's just been a real passion to try to collect all that we can, to be able to do as much as we can, and even to take our grandchildren on special trips to anywhere in the world that they decide they want to go when they graduate high school. So it's just been going on a long time, and that's kind of how I started.
My goodness, that is just so amazing. And just what an epic way to do your first trip. Just call the airlines and be like, as far away as I can get from here. Oh, that is just so epic.
I want to add in, though, the thing that makes this even more crazy is I'm going to age myself, but this was before Google. So this was in the 90s when all you had was AOL dial-up, right? I don't know how old you are, Kendra, but AOL dial-up, I can still hear it in my head. And Mom, that's all she had. And then so she would spend hours and hours on the phone with airlines and credit card companies, just like asking those tough questions of how do I earn these? What do I do? What are the loopholes? What are the tactics?
Yes, and that really puts it in perspective too. There's no YouTube. There's no one else talking about this. You were like the one paving the way to share the information with everyone else now. That's amazing. And from what I've read about y'all, you had a dairy farm, right? So you weren't really able to get away often, I assume, as well. So then when you were able to, then you were kind of like, okay, I'm going to travel as much as I can. I've got these points figured out too. It's just so inspiring.
I did eventually stumble across the points guy, and he was a great help. So that was kind of one of my go-tos from the beginning when I stumbled across him. So he was really the one that paved the way in front of me. So it was just good to find him.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm going to have to check that out too after I become an expert here today after this interview.
He's one of the biggest ones that most people have followed or at least heard of. I will say, though, like his website has so much information on it that it can be very overwhelming as a beginner. And he's so deep into it. He's like where the experienced people go for more information. He has a ton of resources, but he's very overwhelming, I think, for a beginner perspective. That's just my opinion, but I love his information now.
Yeah, and thank you for validating that, though, because whenever I've tried to kind of get into it, it's like I immediately see a bunch of stuff that is like written in a different language to me, basically, and I just am like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure this out today, and then it just kind of gets pushed off, and then I never really get to where I'm really capitalizing it. So I really appreciate how y'all break that down in a way that a beginner can understand it and begin to make the most out of our credit cards. So, Joy, you also work in hospitality, right? So, you provide amazing experiences for others every single day. So, when did you finally decide that it was your turn to treat yourself and start traveling?
Well, what's so funny is I've always had like a desire to travel and loved it because in high school and college, we would travel and I did like international mission trips. And then mom started taking us on family vacations. And then I started working in hotels and then got the $29 room rates. So we would travel, like take weekend trips a lot of places. And I've just always loved to travel. But then when I got married and became a mom, and then like the financial struggles just were real, in that season of life, it was something that we only started taking vacations mom took us on.
Mm.
And she's been telling me, I mean, she's a broken record. Joy, if you just had this credit card, you could do this. Joy, I can show you how to save money and travel again. Joy, I can do this. And it took me up until 3 years ago to finally listen to her. So over 20 years of her telling me this is how long it took me. So don't feel bad about being overwhelmed or not wanting to do it. I've had every resource at my fingertips my entire adult life and I ignored it too. But now mom and I, we take lots of trips together, separate with my own family. She and dad take them. And then I will take my kids and piggyback on some trips that she and dad do, or else she and I will take my kids and just go on trips. And so now we definitely are enjoying it. And I'm loving that I'm at the age where my kids are kind of old enough to go and my husband doesn't have a remote job. So if he can't go, I just take mom and have help with them and we just have fun.
I love it. What amazing memories you have created. It's just so great. So, I do wonder, what is the biggest misconception do you think people might have about using points and miles?
Ooh, I think there's a couple. The first one is people think that you have to spend $1 million to earn 1 million points, which is false. The second one is they think that you're going to hurt your credit by opening up new credit cards, which is also false. And we can go into it when we talk about how we do it. And then I think the third one is people just think it's really, really overcomplicated because they think that when you get into it, you have to go all in. And I think that's one thing that really kind of sets mom and I apart is that I focus more on strategic spending, like what's going to work for your family and just being smart with where you're spending to earn the most points possible and keeping it easy. As long as you're saving money, that's the end goal. You don't have to go all in and become a crazy person like I am or like mom is. Like the goal is just to save money. So whether that means you get your hotel covered, you get your flight covered, you just have enough to like cover half of your hotel or your rental car or whatever it may be, you're saving money. So you're winning at the end of the day. And that's, I think, just the biggest shift is you just have to remember you want to just save money. Like that's your goal, right? You don't have to go crazy. That comes with time.
Hi, I love that. So I have about 1 million questions for you, but why don't you just start and kind of break it down how you would maybe explain to a beginner like how to get into the points and maybe what your hot tips are, or just kind of a general overview too of what it looks like and the main things to be implementing if you're starting this journey.
So we have a free guide on our website and on our Instagram, and we call it the 4 super simple steps to nearly free travel. Because at the end of the day, it's repeating the same 4 steps over and over to be able to make your trips happen. And I have a very strict rule that is if I pay, I don't go. So I will never pay full price, nor will I really pay any significant amount of money for a flight or a hotel. It's just my strict rule because if I have to pay, it's not in my budget. I mean, we don't make a ton of money and most points and miles people actually don't. We're just like regular old everyday moms or dads or people that don't have a ton of money. So that's why we got into points and miles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the 4 super simple steps are number 1, you need to have a really solid foundation on your finances. Golden rule is you pay every bill each and every month, right? So like because we focus on credit card rewards, you cannot carry debt. If you're carrying any type of debt, it negates everything you're earning and rewarding. So you have to be responsible with your finances. Every bill, every month, no exceptions, has to be paid off. And you need to know your credit, right? Like you have to have a credit score of at least 700. Most people, when we get into points and miles, our credit scores actually skyrocket well over 800. because, it's unpopular opinion, it actually helps your credit to open more credit cards. It does not hurt you. Because the way that works is your credit score, a huge portion of it is based off your utilization, which means like if I get a credit card and they give me a $10,000 limit and I'm not maxing that out and I'm paying it off every month and I'm keeping my usage down to like maybe 1,000 or 2,000 a month on that credit card, I'm keeping my utilization under 30%. And it's raising my credit score. So the more credit cards you have, the higher amount of credit you have extended to you, the lower your utilization is. So therefore your score is much higher. And that's the biggest factor in your credit score. And then so the next piece on that is once you have your bills in check and you know your credit score, is you want to know your budget. So we teach everyday expenses. So you want to know how much are you spending on groceries? How much are you spending on gas? What are you spending on kids' activities? What are you spending on healthcare? What are you spending on shopping? All of those routine things that you're going to spend, your utilities, what are your internet, your cell phone, and can you put that all on a credit card? And once you know that number and how much you're spending per month and what can go on a credit card, and you would be surprised how much stuff you can actually pay in a credit card, then you go to step 2, which is finding the credit card. And we have some guides like on the best place to start. We give you some suggestions on the top starter credit card if you want to get into points and miles. And the 2 we always go for are the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Capital One Venture because they're the easiest to use. They're really great returns, redemption, abilities. And then so you would get the card. Once you apply for the card, you're approved. You have 90 days to meet the minimum, which is Capital One is a $4,000 minimum spend in 90 days. The Chase Sapphire Preferred is a $5,000 spend in 90 days. And then once you reach that minimum spend, that's why you need to know your budget, right? Because there's all different types of cards out there. So there are cards that are $500 in 90 days, and there are cards that are like $20,000 in 90 days. So there's a wide variety of cards you can get, and that's where knowing your budget is hugely important. But most people can cover $4,000 in 90 days because, I spend $1,000 a month on groceries alone. And if you look at that, it's $1,300 a month. Right? So it's a pretty attainable number. So then you meet your spend out, and then at 90 days, you get your what's called the welcome bonus, the sign up bonus. For those 2 cards, it's 75,000 points. And then when you earn those 75,000 points, you didn't spend extra money. You just shifted the way you're handling your money, right? You shifted what you're spending. You're putting that debit card in the sock drawer and not using it ever again. And then all you're doing is you're having your everyday expenses fuel your rewards for your next vacation. So when you earn those 75,000 points from that welcome offer, you then can turn those into an amazing vacation.
Okay. That was so much helpful information.
And that's
Thank you
just
so much.
2 steps.
And that's just 2 of the steps, yes. I am curious, the 75,000 points, like what does that look like? What does that translate into as far as like an actual trip? Like what could that get you?
Great question. So step 3 is meeting the spend, and then step 4 is redeeming your points. So when you go to redeem your points, and we talk a little bit about it in our free guide, but there's this tool on those cards in certain travel cards that they call transfer to partner, which is very different because most people, when they look at their credit card, they're like 75,000 points, $150 in the travel portal. That's like one international flight. That's not going to do me any real big deal, right? Well, mom can turn that into one business class flight across seas. I can turn that into like 5 nights at a hotel, or we can turn it into like 10 economy flights from New York to London. So when you use that transfer to partner tool that's in the bank portal for your either Chase or your Capital One that you're looking at, that tool then helps you turn those 75,000 points that you just earned into 75,000 airline miles or 75,000 hotel points. And you can find flights from JFK to London for 6,000 miles per person.
Wow. That's impressive. Okay. And it's so helpful to have this broken down here. I have done it all wrong because I know when I first got my couple credit cards, I was like, I'm going to do the cash back because that makes the most sense to me. Like, why wouldn't I just want cash back without having any idea that the cash back you get is like nothing compared to what you could actually get from these points and miles card? I feel duped.
You
What have
didn't
I
do
been
it
doing this whole
wrong.
time?
You still got cash back and you saved money. But now you just learned and you can do better next time.
Yes. But I'm just like all those London flights I could have been taking this whole time.
Right.
Well, that was super helpful.
It's a process. You learn as you go, and you just keep adding little by little to your knowledge of how to make it work. And it takes a little time to do it and a real lot of focus, but you have to keep good record. You have to track everything you do, that track every credit card you get, when you get it, what you're doing, learn the benefits of it and how to maximize each credit card that you're using for the best number of points when you're spending. But there's a lot involved in it, but we have to break it down so that the reality of it is not quite so overwhelming when you go with the way that we plan it out. A lot of people just want you to get a big credit card and go for it. But if you want to do it over the long haul, and like I've been doing it for all these years, you've got to be organized with it and you've got to rein in your horses so that you just don't go hog wild. Because back in the old days, before Chase started coming up with all these rules, I would just not know what I was doing. I remember one day I got on and I applied for 7 credit cards on the same day. And I got approved for them all on the same day. I had done a mixture of some that had a bigger spend, and most of them didn't have a very big spend at all, so I could navigate that. But now you really have to pay attention to the rules of every bank, and they're all different. So you can't just go willy-nilly. You've got to be organized to go the long distance to maximize everything that you're doing. It's very rewarding when you realize what you're doing and what you're able to do for your family.
Okay, that is really good to know too. I will admit a financial organization is not a strength of mine, so that's good to know that there's more involved in it. I know you have a couple of freebies and you also have a paid resource too. So I am curious, in those resources, is there additional details about what I really need to do to be organized with these cards?
Yes. So in our paid one, it's called Credit Card Rewards Made Easy. And it actually focuses more on the foundation of credit cards. So because our free guide tells you, like the 4 super simple steps, right? You can jump into that. But if you don't understand the foundation of credit cards, like we teach you how to read the terms and offers, like the terms and conditions of a credit card. We give examples. We tell you things to look for. We talk about the bank rules because every bank has different application rules. Chase has what they call the 524. So you'll hear points people talk a lot about, like, oh, I'm at 524, I'm at 324, I'm at 824. What that means is how many new credit cards that you've applied for in the past 24 months. And so if you're higher than 5 in the past 24 months, Chase will deny you. And there's a lot of like ways around some of these rules too, right? And then American Express limits how many cards you can hold with them. So you can only hold 5 American Express cards. There's also nuances to that as well. Capital One requires a 6-month time frame in between applications. So like every bank has its own rules. And when you go to build your strategy, the more that you know about the bank rules and that you can kind of lay it out, the better off you'll be from the beginning. So our paid guide really focuses in on understanding the bank rules, understanding like what's happening to your credit. You get all these cards. Well, we're paying annual fees. So the next piece is, am I going to pay these for life? Or how do I cancel this? How do I downgrade it? What do I do? We cover all of those details in our guide. We also give you a sample card plan. So if you were starting out, what cards to get for the first year. There's some other rules and nuances around partnering with a spouse as well, or a partner. And we go in depth on all of those in our guide. And it has a mix of worksheets and videos and a full guide with it.
Okay, that's amazing. I'm tempted to cut the interview short so I can just go download this immediately, but I still have a lot of questions. But that sounds like something I certainly need in my life. So thank you for streamlining the process for those of us that just get overwhelmed and then give up. I am curious, are there any bank cards that are on the do not buy list? Are there any banks or anything like that where you're like, do not get that card? It is a trick or anything like that?
I would say Discover is pretty much a stay away from because they don't have transferable points. So let me start there. The cards that we focus on have what we call transferable points, which are those types of points that you can transfer out to like an airline or a hotel. The reason why they're so great is they're flexible, right? Like you can transfer 5,000 points here if you need to top off an account to be able to book a night at a hotel. You don't have to transfer everything at once. And then they go to a list of like 15 to 20 different types of airlines and hotels. And every bank has a different set of partners for airlines and hotels too. So like some only go to Hyatt, some go to Hilton, some go to Marriott, some go to Southwest, some go to Delta. They have different partners too. So when it comes to credit cards, building your stash of the types of cards that give you those flexible points is key at first, because then you have the ability to do whatever with your points. Whereas if I go jump out and I grab a Southwest credit card, which I love my Southwest credit card, don't get me wrong, I can only use it at Southwest. And this gives me the opportunity to use it at Southwest, United, Virgin Atlantic, which has those 6,000-mile flights, which get me to London. And it gives me a whole list of places I can use it. So it just changes the way you're using your points and shifting the thought process behind it. But in cards to stay away from, so we focus on cards that give us those transferable points. And every bank, so the main 4 banks that we talked about were Chase, American Express, Capital One, and Citi. And so those are the 4 that we focus on getting their flexible rewards cards first. And then from there, we start to branch out and add in like our co-branded airline cards and our hotel cards, because those give us benefits and status, as well as a huge chunk to use towards travel too. But the flexible ones are key to start with.
Thank you so much for all of that information. I do have a question about your travels for you. Have you ever had a moment or a trip where you were either on a flight or you're like at a hotel or just somewhere in the world where you really like paused and you're like, I just can't believe that I just pulled this off, that I just made this work with the points? Like, were there any moments like that for you where you were just like mind blown?
Over and over and over. I mean, like when we were in, oh my gosh, Bora Bora, I found heaven. I mean, and just so many places, whether it was the Arctic or whether it was Antarctica or just over and over and over. There's so many wonderful places to go. It's just like, pinch me. We're really here. We really did this. We really made this affordable. My husband used to get on the planes with me, and he was very hesitant, and he would say, we're going to get arrested. We're going to get arrested. We can't do this. He used to go to the airport all the time, but he would be scared to death. And I'd say, Rudy, just calm down. You're fine. This is really legal. It's legitimate. You're not doing anything wrong. It's all above board. And finally, he calmed down to the place of he just goes on like he's, some wealthy guy that just wants to sit down and relax in business or whatever, whatever we're going on. And he's finally laid down the rule to me now. Well, I don't fly over 4 hours unless I'm in business or first, It's been a journey, but the cool thing about it is that you have to understand, and people don't understand this, when you're redeeming your points and you get on an airplane, the people that are flying that airplane and the attendants, they don't know who's paying cash and who's using points. Everyone is equal. So you're treated like royalty, just like you would spend thousands of dollars for that ticket, even if you only spent 44, It's really cool.
I just love that. It's so inspiring. That's just great. So let's say you're planning a vacation, a trip, and it's going to be 4 of you, whether it's the family or grandkids or whatnot, like a 4. How many like points are you typically looking to transfer? Is that the correct terminology? In order to achieve like an average vacation? What's just the ballpark amount of points that you're usually looking for?
It depends upon where in the world you're going,
Yeah.
your style of travel, how many points you have available through other means, the time of year. There's so many variables that it's really hard to specifically say until you nail it down.
I can give some rules of thumb. So mom flies very different than me, because like when they do long haul trips to Europe or other countries, they only fly business, right? So that is a whole different ballgame. That's going to be a lot more points. I'm taking a family of 4. My kids are not going to get business because I know they'll never want to go back. So we stick with economy all the way, even though my son is begging for business class. He gets economy. And I try to do, like, if I'm going to Europe, about 20,000 airline miles per person each way is a really good number for economy to get to Europe. Now, you can get to London for so much cheaper, because London, there are sweet spots. The key is
Okay.
being flexible. Like if you're coming in and you have a set date that you're looking to travel and you can't even shift it off like before or after by a day or two, you're probably going to be stuck with more miles. So like we are stuck to a public school schedule, and I will pull my kids. Like we just finished up spring break and I pulled them out the Monday, Tuesday following because that was a better flight deal, right? And so I
Good
mean,
for you. Heck yeah.
I'm not opposed to pulling my kids out to extend a trip. Hotels are very different depending on like what type of product you're looking at. A lot of points people focus in on Hyatt because it is usually the best value for your money. So Hyatt, you're looking at anywhere from like in the US, typically 9,000 to 50,000 points a night for Hyatt hotels, depending if you want a Hyatt Place or a Park Hyatt, all the way up the scale. But just, it's going to vary. Europe, Mom, what do you typically get per night in Europe?
I don't even know. It depends upon the accommodations we're getting. But I will say this one thing about Hyatt. We have traditionally been doing a lot of that, but now they have just made a lot of changes in their point value. So this is the deal. Way back years ago, before Hilton started gutting their program and making changes, I booked a dream vacation and I said, okay, I told my husband, I said, I'm going to book this. I'm going to do this. And if it doesn't work out, we can't do it, then I can cancel it, get my points back. So when you know that they're going to be changing and gutting a program like that, then you go ahead and book the trip. Just book it, because then if you can't take it, you can cancel it and get the points back.
That's good to know too. And are there any cruises that you can ever transfer points for? Or is it just kind of flights and hotels?
We actually had a flight planned during COVID and it got canceled. And so we had all these points that were just sitting out there in Virgin. And all of a sudden they decided that they have also a cruise program and that you could transfer your airline miles over to the cruise program. We flew to Barcelona and took a week's cruise in the Mediterranean for $0. Didn't even have to pay the taxes on it. Phenomenal.
Wow. Oh, that is amazing. Okay, I'm excited here. I need to start racking up some credit card purchases. Tell my husband it's all in the name of travel.
The cool thing about points is you can really do whatever it is you want to do with them. Like we just did Disneyland for spring break and I used my Capital One points to cover our tickets for Disneyland. So like you can use it for rental cars. You can use it for so much more. If you just know the tricks and how to properly leverage them, like your ability to use your points and miles are really kind of limitless.
It sounded like you had some really good advanced moves, like buying the gift cards for the Disney food credits or that type of thing to then apply there. I'm sure that there's some really good resources on your page that everyone can really dig into to figure out how to navigate it like a pro.
No, say I don't have any Disney resources on my page because that was my first like real Disney experience doing any of that. And I feel like I was just at the baby level of Disney hacks, but there are some points and miles people out there that are
That was
crazy
the
Disney.
baby level because there seemed like a lot of different things going on in your trip. So
I mean, mine was kind of like the baby level, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Because that, like, I didn't even follow what you were talking about. I was like, okay, I mean, I'm going to just trust her, but I don't know what she's talking about. But it was really great that you were able to pull that off because you paid nothing, right? For your Disney trip?
We
Or minimal?
paid a little bit because I didn't have enough points to fully cover everything we wanted to do. So I ended up still paying like $400 worth of our ticket, which I wrote off over $1,000 in points and miles on our ticket. And we did pay for Universal. I looked at that as a points earning opportunity, which that's kind of the way we evaluate things too. Like, is this a points earning or is this a points redemption? And if it's a points earning opportunity, then there's a lot more factors that go into it, like which credit card are you going to use? Are you going to try to find like a stackable offer on top of it to get more points? And that's a whole nother world in itself too.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I love the phrase points earning opportunity. I am going to use that every time I now leave the house and go shopping. I'm just going to be like, listen, it's a points earning opportunity. I cannot pass it up. I love that.
There you go.
All right. So I do have a game we play on every podcast episode. It's called Live, Visit, Exile. So I'm going to give you 3 locations. One, you would choose that if you had to live there. One that you would just visit if you could. And then the final one. So it is California, Barcelona, and Bora Bora. So where would you live if you had to live somewhere else? Where would you visit and where would you exile yourself from, never to return?
Where am I living? Oh, wow. Bora Bora was so pretty. I guess Bora Bora.
I love it.
I like visiting California.
Okay. So you'll visit California and then unfortunately you won't be able to visit Barcelona again.
Well, Barbados. Can I do that one?
Instead of Bora Bora or instead of Barcelona?
Instead of Barcelona.
Okay,
Instead of
yes, you
Barcelona.
can. Yeah, Barbados can pinch hit. So we're going to exile Barbados.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Exile Barbados.
Barcelona was too difficult to say goodbye to. We had to throw a different one in there. I love it. Oh, that is great.
They're wonderful. It's hard to narrow things down because there's just so many magical places in this world.
I'm sure. Is there a place that you've been that is just your ultimate favorite, or is it just too difficult to pick a favorite spot?
It's too difficult to pick a favorite spot. I absolutely loved Bora Bora. It was unforgettable. And we went out to the private island where the royalty used to have their little picnics and stuff, and you get on the
Amazing.
boat to leave and the staff is standing on the steps waving at you goodbye as your boat goes away. When you're collecting all of those points, and it can be overwhelming to know how to navigate spending them and transferring them all. We do have a portion on our website that you can actually book a session in order to help you get the best transfer rates and to help you find how to spend those points for the best value. So you're not
That's
just
good
left
to
to
know.
yourself. If you want help, we're there to help you navigate making that dream trip work for you.
That's so good to know because, yes, you want to make sure you're really maximizing on the trip. So having an expert's eyes on it would be priceless for sure. So thank you for bringing that up. That is awesome that you all offer that. So you have built this platform around helping moms, people travel smarter, not just traveling more often, right? So I am just really curious too. How has your mindset around money and travel changed since you started doing this?
Before, I just looked at travel as absolutely too expensive. Our version of travel was a road trip to visit family somewhere to where we could stay at their house, or else mom planned it for us and we went as a big family for her. And that was what we did. I mean, it was just like, that's not a good use of my money. That's not a smart use of my money. And I didn't realize multiple aspects of it, right? Like it was just strictly about the money. And now that I have broken down and started traveling and just took the trip, like the first couple trips were pretty stressful because my kids weren't used to like big travel days. They were excited to be on a plane, but then they'd melt down really quickly. And so we definitely had some challenges we had to work through. My husband would, many days much rather be sitting at home on the couch, on his days off or whatever, relaxing over rushing around different cities or whatever. But the more we travel, we've definitely shifted our budget quite a bit, right? Because there's expense with travel. You still have to pay for your food and you still have expenses if you do activities and different things you do. And on our website, we actually have added a breakdown and I'm still building it out. But I have like probably 5 or 6 trips on there where I show you exactly what it would have cost and what we did pay out of pocket. So like you can kind of get an idea for some trips on what we've paid. But the thing that I love the most about it is it has strengthened our family. So like starting with as a kid with mom and dad, my brothers are quite a bit older than me. So we never really had a close relationship. I was in, I think, 7th grade when they were gone. And we just never really had a good, close relationship because I was so much younger than them. And when we started traveling and taking these huge family vacations, it started strengthening our bond and like my relationship with my brothers. I'm not their like dumb little sister anymore, right? I mean, I still am sometimes, but like now we actually talk a lot more often. And now our kids have relationships and it's fun to get together as a family. But then for my personal family, you only have so many years with their kids while they're all yours. And so it has given us the ability to grow and strengthen. It's that one time where our kids get us. They just get us without the stress of home, without the stress of work, without the stress of activities and doing stuff. We get to leave all that at home and just be with them and explore stuff together and do stuff together. And we just have fun. It's definitely strengthened our bond.
That was a beautiful answer. Thank you. Yeah, that is all such great points. Do you have anything to add, Mayra?
If you're older like me and you've raised your kids and everybody's gone and you're just activities and stuff, when you start traveling together and doing something new like that, it strengthens your marriage and your relationship. It goes to a different level and it's a lot of fun. So it's like, I don't mind being an empty nester. Now we can go, you know?
Yes, yes, I love that. Turn it into lemonade. That is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. One specific thing I did want to ask y'all about is the card pointers app that I think you had
Yeah,
mentioned. Is that something that is necessary? And tell us just briefly what that can do for someone navigating the points and miles game.
absolutely. So I love the Card Pointers app, and I think the people that run that company, right? Brooke is their main rep, and she works with us very closely, and she's just amazing. But they're just so knowledgeable. And the guy who built the app just was a card enthusiast like us, and saw that there was this gap in being organized, with your credit cards, and it was literally just like an old school pencil and paper system, like Excel spreadsheets, and that's what everybody was doing. So he started building this app, but he took it to the next level, not just keeping track of your credit cards, like when you open them, when your annual fees coming up, you can keep track of your benefits on it. So as you build your credit cards, you get all these perks with your credit cards, right? Like you get a wide variety of travel perks, like you get quarterly, bi-monthly, or biannual travel perks where you get so much money to use towards hotel stays or whatever it may be. You get even credits like Instacart, DoorDash, Dunkin', like the list just goes on. And sometimes they're hard to keep up with, but you're like, I have this credit card, I want to get my value out of it. If I'm paying $300 or more a year, I want to get my value. So when you enter in your credit cards, it tells you like every month you can track your perks and you can check them off when you use them. So it'll tell you like what you still haven't used, what you have used. And then it does a lot more advanced features too. So when you really get into points and miles, we look at offers in our credit cards, which are like extra ways to earn more points back by certain stores or bonuses or different things like that. And so they have a thing that'll tell you which credit card to use on which purchase. You just type in where you're at or what you're trying to purchase, and it says, this credit card right now is going to give you the most points back for your purchase that's in your wallet. On Card Pointers, our link will get you 30% off. So we do have a link in our guide.
Perfect. Okay. Well, that sounds really useful as well. So I do have something else that I'm curious about. I saw an older introduction reel on your page. It was like one of your very first posts that you made introducing who you all are. And in the video, you described yourself as a social media dinosaur. And I cracked up because that was hilariously relatable to me. I feel that. And it was right at the beginning of your journey, right? You were starting at 0, and now you've absolutely smashed the social media game. Your content is just so helpful. It's so great. It's so inspiring. So I do just wonder, on kind of a separate vein, do you have any tips for the content creators out there?
Just don't quit. Consistency is not my strong point. I will be completely honest. And I know consistency is really key. So I go through phases where I'm really consistent and not. And those phases when I'm really consistent, we do tend to grow a little bit more. It's all about just making your content that is relatable and shareable and something that just draws people in. And because of mom, it's always her reels. Like when I put her on social media, those are the ones that always go viral and grow. And it's only because of her that we have as many followers we do, because we've tapped into the empty nesters and retirement market on Instagram. And now I'm slowly trying to shift it back to the family side, since I do run more of it. But at the end of the day, our goal is to just talk to all moms of all ages. Just because you're an empty nester or retired, you can still learn, and there's still so much you can do together. And then it helps you leverage your whole family too, because you just want to take these bigger family vacations the bigger your family gets too. So there's so many tips out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love that Mayra's the secret weapon. And that makes so much sense, though, because when I first saw your page, too, I was like, oh my gosh, a mother-daughter duo. This is just so amazing. Even if you weren't helping with all these points, if that wasn't even the point of your whole channel, I would still be such a fan, because I just love that dynamic and that content. It's just so inspiring and so heartwarming. I love it.
Thank
Okay,
you
so thank you
so
for sharing
much.
these tips, though. Yeah. Before we wrap up, we've got to play a couple rounds of Would You Rather. So the first one, to travel with maybe kids, maybe grandkids. So I wonder, would you rather be staying in a luxury hotel, right? But the kids are acting feral. There's been, I don't know, a sugar rush. Something's gone on. They're off the wall. Or would you rather be in the budget hotel where your kids are just perfectly behaved, doing what they need to do, everything's chill? What would you choose?
Mom, I'll let you go first.
The luxury. I like the luxury just because I think it's an experience and it's an opportunity for them to learn to straighten up, fly right, show respect, instead of just letting them be crazy.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Joy?
So it's so funny because I do more family friendly budget style hotels. Typically, we don't do too many like bougie or high end luxury hotels. And we did stay in one in February. We stayed at a Fairmont, which is the nicest hotel we've ever stayed at. And my kids were getting a little rowdy, and my husband started freaking out. He was like, they're going to kick us out. We're going to get called here in a minute because our kids are fighting and screaming after a long travel day, and they're just being kids, because I had like, we'll go to the pool. The pool wasn't heated, so we couldn't go to the pool. So they were really upset about it and then just went off the rails. And he was so embarrassed and he was getting so mad at them. And I'm like, oh, well, whatever happens, happens. But it is different, right?
Yeah.
Because in those hotels, you have a lot more couples. You have a lot more people that are just not there for the families because they're paying so much and we're bringing in our rowdy kids.
Yes, that question was actually sparked from a real life experience. My in-laws were visiting and they do points for hotels. So they were at this very bougie place that like we've never stayed anywhere like that. It's the kind where in the grotto hot tub, there's a button on the wall you can press to order a bottle of Dom Perignon, right? Like
that's
that level.
fancy.
It was like so nuts. Yeah. So I was like, should I press this button? I don't know. Kind of tempted. But then I was like, the whole time I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, are we going to get kicked out here? Like, I don't know that we belong here exactly. So funny. All right. So my next one, would you rather have to explain points and miles to every stranger that you meet or just have people assume that you're rich every trip that you take and just kind of think about you that way? Which would you prefer?
I would try to just pretend like, we were rich and we could afford it. Next thing you know, my husband's talking to the person on the other side of him, telling him how we are all these points and miles. And my wife does that. Next thing you know, they're leaning around wanting to take notes. It's like, I just want to be left alone and be classy every now and then, We
Oh,
have
that
it both
makes
ways.
I wear it proudly because I feel like even rich people want to save money too. And one of my jobs that I have right now is I work for a company that helps business owners and executives use their points and come up with spending strategies. And these people make like 7 to 9 figures a year, which is money I can never imagine, right? But they still want to use their points and they have the opportunity to earn like millions of points a year and they can afford to pay cash, but they still want to use their points. So I wear it proudly because I feel like points don't discriminate. It's something we all have access to. And as long as you're smart with your money, like it doesn't matter how much you make and if you can pay cash or not. So wear it proudly. Like there's potential to teach people about points all over the place.
I love that perspective too. I agree. Like it's amazing, like budget travel, incredible, but it would also be fun for a day just to pretend that I was, part of the rich and famous or something and not, someone who lives in a trailer as I do, which I always joke about it. Obviously, we love this lifestyle, but it's just fun to poke fun at ourselves. All right. So Joy and Mayra, this was just so much fun. I really appreciate all of your intel. Thank you for blessing us with all these details. And thank you for telling us about the resources that you have available, where I'm going to be going after the episode. And you also have a podcast too, Joy. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So mom did not want to start a podcast with me. So I found another Points and Miles friend that does it with me. We're the Savvy Travel Moms podcast. So we just started it earlier this year. I want to say we're about like 10 episodes in now, and we're having a blast. And the thing that I think makes us different is Michelle, my podcast partner, she's really bougie. She's like, I will take my kids and go stay at a Park Hyatt with my room service and my robes. And I'm like, can we go to the Holiday Inn Express over here where I get free breakfast, So that's definitely a different that we have that we bring to the table. She's a homeschool mom. I'm a public school mom. But our goal at the end of the day is to just help moms of all types. So we incorporate Points and Miles, but it's not the main focus of our podcast. We talk about all different kinds of ways you can save and different hacks and tricks and different ways you can earn points too that are outside of always chasing a new credit card offer. So we try to bring a good variety to the table in our podcast so we can appeal to more moms.
Hey, oh, I love that. Okay, so great. Thank you for sharing. All right, so you make travel feel accessible for families who might just think it's out of reach, and that matters so much because travel really does heal. So thank you so much for sharing. If everyone listening, if you are not already following Savvy Travel Mamas, go fix that immediately to save yourself some cash and follow along on their epic adventures. And thank you so much for being here, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, and your review would really mean the world to me. Safe travels, y'all.
front seat, grandma grin, passport ready. Joe beside her with the kid seat, books the route like it's confetti. Tiny budget, big adventure, swipe the card, then watch it bloom. From the gate to the breakfast table, they make miles stretch across the room. Stack the points, then spin the map. One more stop on a simple plan. Teach the tricks, share the hacks, hand me hope in a suitcase plan. Savvy travel mamas go, turn a little into gold. Savvy travel mamas go, airport dreams on a small budget road. Mama Myra, business class glow, joy and fan, economy roll. Savvy travel mamas go, show me how to let the miles roll. Mama Myra and her husband raise a toast in the wider seat. Joy with the crew in the next aisle, snack packs and a window seat. They got guides and step-by-step sheets so you don't feel lost on day one. Cards, points, miles, and the time, and now your next trip feels half done. Stack the points, then spin the map. One more stop on a simple plan. Teach the tricks, share the hacks, hand me hope in a suitcase plan. Savvy travel mamas go, turn a little into gold. Savvy travel mamas go, airport dreams on a small budget road. Mama Myra, business class glow, joy and fam, economy roll. Savvy travel mamas go, show me how to let the miles roll. From grandma laps to family flights, they built a life on better plans. Not just travel, but a way to share with every mom who wants a chance. Resources, open doors, unlock little notes in a travel bag. You can go farther than you thought when you learn the map they had. Savvy travel mamas go, turn a little into gold. Savvy travel mamas go, airport dreams on a small budget road. Mama Myra, business class glow, joy and fam, economy roll. Savvy travel mamas go, show me how to let the miles roll. Savvy travel mamas go, save it, book it, then take off. Savvy travel mamas go, world on a budget, never lost.